My people of this country and we're under attack. They banning us, they cancel us for speaking the facts. If you man enough.
This is the Patriots Prayer Podcast. It's a tremendous show, one of the greatest shows in the history of the world.
This is Bryson Gray, and you are watching the Patriots Prayer.
PTN, you're doing the right thing.
On the Patriots Prayer Network. Thank you all.
PPN on your bumper.
I'm Tom McDonald. This is the Patriot Prayers Network. Check it out. Lots of good TV. Lots of cool people. Tune in. Keep it locked.
I'm a white boy with the middle fingers in the air, dog. We don't give a what. 100 white boys gonna hold me down anywhere, dog. We think that you suck. My Patriots the craziest. They ain't afraid of breaking fists on faces. If you really wanna taste of this, no safety tip. The same mistake and spray the clip. I pray you miss, cause if you don't, they gon' go wacko. Automatic gun smoke like tobacco. Never hit a lady, but it's pretty hard to tell if you're a girl or a they, them. There's these, that, those. I ain't never gonna take a knee for the anthem. Smack them. I don't give a damn, can't stand them. Gang full of randoms. Fan with a handgun. Run up in your mansion, leave it all abandoned. I was raised to be brave to the grave. United States, we love the country that they've been corrupting. Go woke and go broker if you ain't obeyed. My people of this country and we're under attack. They banning us, they cancel us for speaking the facts. If you man enough, come stand with us, take USA back. And every time we pull up, all you're gonna see is American flags. American flags. American flags. And every time we pull up, all you...
What is up, you guys? I'm going to give it just a couple minutes because I know that this is kind of a weird time to go live, but I feel like this video here is going to be a fun one to go over because I did end up watching the entire video. If you guys don't know, I'll kind of give you a little backstory and let you know what's going on, because last week PNW Gorilla and I did a video about how America's not stolen land, or at least not in the context that it's used today. How they say, you know, no illegal is illegal on stolen land, or no foreigner is illegal on stolen land, and I hate that idea. And so one of the things that I did is, I mean, I've been talking about this for years, but apparently I triggered a VTuber of some kind, and I don't think their account has like 2,000 followers. I'll show it to you, but let's see. We'll take a little gander here at their account. So their account here, it's got 2,000 followers, but from what I'm gathering, it's an old account that, well, I guess it's brand new, but the person running the account is not new. They've had an account before, and you know, regardless of whether or not they you know, have a large audience or whatever, it's still nice to take people seriously. I know that when I was a small account, it was nice to be taken seriously, so I try to, you know, I'll try to treat them as if they're, I guess that their words are just as you know, on the same playing field. I'm not trying to punch down, right? Although in this video, you guys will see. If you can, please share this. I know it's I'm only streaming to a couple different things. I'm on YouTube, Twitch, X, Rumble, and Facebook actually. Mostly at Law Native Patriot, but on Rumble and Facebook, it's the Patriots Prayer Network. So, but if you guys can, please share this really quick, and I guess we'll get this going. Yeah, you know what? We could just jump into it because why not, right? So you guys heard the backstory a little bit, and yeah, we'll just get going. Let's see. I hope I'm sharing the audio on this. I believe I am. Actually, let me double check really quick and make sure, because if you guys didn't have audio on it, that would be bad. Okay, let's get this going.
Hey there, folks. Hope you're doing well today. And boy, do we have one for you. Take a look.
Today we're going to be talking about no, you're not on stolen land. Everything going on in Minneapolis right now, everything going on in America, I felt like it would be a good time to bring on a Native American and talk about no, you're not on stolen land.
There's been a lot of rhetoric these days being used saying that ICE is infringing on our rights.
All right, hold up. That's one thing I didn't notice about this is that he pulls up my profile in the video. So this lady here can see that I have 221,000 followers. I think I'm up to 222 now. I don't know. I have over 200,000 followers, so she knows that I'm not, I'm not a nobody trying to gain popularity through PNW Gorilla.
A lot of rhetoric these days being used saying that ICE is infringing on our rights and that there are no illegals on stolen land. And we're here to refute the idea that America is stolen.
Okay, so that's quite the setup, right? It looks like we're seeing a white nationalist, or at least someone maybe who's white nationalist adjacent, bringing on a Native American to have him make the case of how this land wasn't stolen. So let's be clear.
So right off the bat, I mean, these first 2 minutes that she does here is setting up her entire argument or her entire audience to dismiss me as an individual person. The entire argument here is to actually just say that I'm not. These aren't his thoughts. These aren't actually what a Native American thinks. And let me be clear, and I've said this a million times, but I don't expect them to know me or follow me or understand what I promote. But I speak as a Native American, not for Native Americans. There's a big distinction there. I don't say that I represent the entire Native American community because I am one. No, I'm Native American, so I'm speaking as a Native. That's it, plain and simple.
The Native guest isn't there to speak honestly. He's there to be used as a tool, a shield, a permission slip, a get out of racism free card. Usually with this kind of setup, the whole message is, see, you can't call this racist. One of them agrees with me. And this is the...
Damn! One of them savages. One of them agrees with me. I mean, I've been promoting this stuff for years, okay? Everything I said in that video is stuff that I've been talking about for a long time. I mean, look at this. This is back in, when was this? June 10th, 2024. Cannot stress to you just how much this irritates me. This is Native Americans being conquered again. Let's see. I guess that doesn't really share my point as well. Encouraging every American to appropriate Native culture, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, Biden is funding and trafficking a new populace into our country. Are you going to fight for your land? I mean, I've been saying this stuff for literal years. This is May 1st, 2024. Down here, let's see. Oh, we don't have to go through all this. But, yeah, I mean, I've been opposing Native Americans hating on this country for years. And the entire setup of this is that these aren't my thoughts. That I'm just a mouthpiece for this white guy next to me. Because for some reason, when the left views a video like that, before even hearing out my argument, she says that I'm just a tool, these aren't my words, and that it's just for this white supremacist next to me in order to use, in order, like, those are his words, and I'm just being a tool. But in all reality, Alex is my friend, okay? He's met my mother-in-law. He's come to parties. I go to his house. Our wives hang out. We babysit each other's kids. I mean, it's not... We're friends in real life. So it's not like I'm being used or trotted out for this specific reason. He comes on the podcast all the time, and I go in his videos all the time. It's so, I mean, maybe do like a modicum of research before you just start telling me and informing your audience of what I am, as opposed to doing just a teensy bit of research on me, being like, oh, okay, this guy's definitely built up an entire following for years promoting this very stuff. So maybe do a little bit more research.
the oldest scam and propaganda, because they're not honestly approaching the situation. The question is not, is this true? But instead, the statement is, look who said it. And so now the argument instead becomes, if a Native American says America wasn't stolen, it must be true. And
that's literally how she's viewing the world. She's explaining to you, this is what I like. Her immediate reaction to seeing the video is, oh, it's from a Native American, and there's obviously a white supremacist there, so he must be a tool, and it's not honest, and there's she's setting up her entire audience just to view me as not legitimate, and that I did not actually come to any of these conclusions on my own or my own life experience, right? She's denying my autonomy. She's saying that I am actually, or I should be part of a group, but instead I'm just being used here for a different agenda.
none of this is logic. It's laundering, white grievance laundering. If a white guy said white people need white-only futures, everyone would hear the alarm bells. So he hides behind the native voice and pretends it's courage. And the result? White grievance gets cleaned up, history gets erased. And the people who were dispossessed get dragged out as props to justify it. And
damn, it's every time I hear this, I'm like, holy shit, she is just really going hard on this. He's not a real person. He's just a prop being dragged out by this white nationalist.
that's not representation. That's exploitation. Nothing about it is
Lord.
courageous or brave or honest. Just bad ideas wearing someone else's identity to try to look respectable. But hey, I'm open to hearing their claims. Let's hear them out.
now that you guys know that I'm not actually a person, I'm just a tool being used by white supremacists. She's gonna hear out the argument, guys. Don't worry. She's fair and honest. She's not actually deeply racist and just assuming that I'm a prop for white nationalism.
Out and see if they stand up to scrutiny.
And there's many talking points to go over today. One of them is the fact that Native Americans as a whole, or as a people, have fought alongside the white man in every single war since America's inception.
Say it ain't
even beforehand. Yeah.
Say it ain't
Based.
so.
And sometimes it was against other Native Americans, but all in all, Native Americans and the white man have been working together in cohesion since the dawn of America.
And how? Roll that intro.
Okay, so like we always talk about, you want to lead with your strongest argument. And we also want to try to remember what they're trying to prove. So again, they're trying to prove that America wasn't stolen land. And the evidence they're providing is that Native Americans have fought alongside the white man in every war since its inception.
Yep.
Yes, Native people served. That part is real.
Thank you.
But why they served matters. A lot of the time, it wasn't about unity. It was about survival. After their land was taken and their...
Generally speaking, isn't that what all militaries are about? Survival. Survival of your countrymen, survival of the country itself, survival of your cultural ideals. Generally speaking, whenever you fight a war, that's usually what it's about. So I'm not sure what she's really getting at with this.
societies were broken apart, many Native people had very limited choices. Joining the military was one of the few ways to get steady pay, gain protection for their family, and avoid worse treatment. So that's not...
Okay. What's the incentives for joining the military today? Can you get out of a draft? No. Now, we don't have a draft right now, but I mean, these obligations, all these things are still true today. You can get steady pay. You can get free college education. You can, again, I'm not really understanding her point. She's just kind of painting it in a picture of, like, you know, they didn't have a choice. They were forced because of the conquest of the white man coming over. And it's like, not, I mean, kind of, but not really. But it's also kind of true for, like, all militaries. That's what militaries are about, is ensuring survival with a stronger force than your opponents. So
partnership, that's making the best out of bad options. And you also have to remember that at different points in history, Native people were forced into U.S. citizenship, drafted like everyone else, and pressured to prove loyalty to a country that had already harmed them.
I mean, you could argue today that the American government has harmed citizens of this country strictly just by importing tens of millions of foreigners and leeching our welfare, or, you know, them abusing our welfare system, forcing us to pay taxes to import these people. And I mean, a lot of this is just, it's true to this day as well. So again, she just kind of describing what it was like as opposed to refuting what I said, if that makes sense.
Proving didn't mean they agreed with what was done to them. It meant they didn't have the power to opt out. And long before...
Again, you don't have the power to opt out of the draft today. So, but I will tell you that Native Americans have served in the military in the highest percentage of their demographic than any other race in America. So, including white people, and black people, Mexicans, like any other race, America or Native Americans per capita serve in the military to this day in the highest per capita. So, I don't know what to tell you there. Maybe she could kind of lean on that a little bit. Thank you guys for reposting this stream. I appreciate it. I know it's a weird time to go live, so if you can repost, I would appreciate it.
The U.S. existed, Native nations made alliances to protect themselves. That didn't stop when the Europeans
hold on.
nations made alliances out. And
hold on, what's she saying?
What was done to them, it meant they didn't have the power to opt out. And
okay.
Long before the U.S. existed, Native nations made alliances to protect themselves. That didn't stop when the Europeans arrived. Some tribes...
The natives made alliances to protect themselves from who? Other Native Americans. A big part of the reason why they teamed up with the white man is because they were being oppressed or enslaved by another Native American tribe. That's part of the reason why they teamed up with them, because there were tyrannical tribes, there were conquering tribes, brutal tribes that literally had different ways to they prided themselves on different ways to torture their enemies. So yeah, alliances were made to protect themselves from other Native Americans. What?
Fought with the U.S. Some tribes fought against it. Some switched sides depending on who was the bigger threat. That's not betrayal or harmony. That's politics under invasion. It really just comes down to this. If someone forces you into a system, then later you work inside that system to survive, that doesn't mean the system was just. It just means you adapted.
The narrative today is that...
Okay. All right. See, a lot of this can just be completely dismantled by just saying compared to what? You know, if you're talking relative to human history, and all the conquest, all of the slavery that was going on, compared to what? So when she's talking about this as if human history, as if this was a unique event in human history, and it's not. It was actually the complete norm in human history for all of this to be happening. Literally everything she's brought up was the norm in human history for the entire documented history of humans. Being brutal and conquest, all that was completely normal. Yeah, Arabs and Persians were forced into Islam and now survive with it. Yeah, exactly. I mean, so I'm not sure what her point. Like, is she comparing it to like a utopia of some kind that is like, oh, you know, everybody should just live in harmony, and the best way to do this would be to come over and she doesn't even actually explain herself very much. She's just kind of describing like it was bad because humans did this. Yes, they always have. So I'm not sure how that debunks what I was saying at all in any way, shape, or form.
95% of Native Americans were genocided, that the white man just came over and slaughtered all of the Native Americans in this land, and that is just simply not the case. There were treaties being made before the Declaration of Independence in the 1600s and 1700s that prove that the white man was buying, trading, and some conquering of land in America before its inception. So the idea that the Native Americans were just completely helpless people being slaughtered by the white man is just not true. Now, I will say that there was a significant portion, 90 to 95% of the deaths were caused by disease. A lot of that through the livestock being traded from the white man to the natives, where they didn't have any kind of immunity built up to it. So a lot of them ended up dying that way. And that was well before biological warfare was known. The white people didn't understand that giving them livestock would cause their entire tribe to die of some disease.
Okay, so here, this argument sounds reasonable at first, but like so many arguments from the right, it's built on distortions and half-truths. So let's break it down. This first idea, people saying 95% of Native Americans were genocided by slaughter, no one credible is claiming that Europeans showed up and basically killed 95% of Native people with swords and guns. That's a straw man, an exaggerated version of the claim, easier to knock down.
Well, kind of. I'll give her that. It's kind of a straw man, but it a lot of it's based on like this here, right? No one is illegal on stolen land. How is it used? It is used in the context of people just saying the land was stolen, and the general idea, the general understanding is that the Europeans came over basically with conquest in mind and just decimated them for the reason of just conquering more land. And that's not what it was. They were settlers who came over, who left a tyrannical government, a monarchy that had ruled the world for 500 years before that, and they created the greatest country on God's green earth. So again, it has to be put into the context of history, not just this idea. You can't just say that it's a complete straw man, because I'm talking about the way it's used colloquially and the way that it is, I guess, used to trot natives out or to get their current agenda pushed today. This is a rebuttal video, because when PNW Gorilla and I did a video last week on that America is not stolen land, this VTuber decided to try and debunk all of my claims. So I'm just kind of going through, what she said.
Instead, what historians are actually saying is that Native populations collapsed catastrophically after European contact. And
True.
Yes, disease was a major factor, and colonization made that damage far worse. Those are not the same thing.
Okay.
And then when he goes on to say most deaths were from disease, so it wasn't genocide, this is where the argument really falls apart. Yes, we've already discussed disease killed a large number of people, but disease didn't arrive on its own. It came with invasion, forced displacement, enslavement, starvation, war, people being...
All of that, which was happening here at the same time. And for thousands of years before the white man came over. So, again, in the context of history, it's not out of the norm. There were going to be people coming to this land anyways. And they were going to come in contact at one point or another. It was inevitable. How are they to prevent that, from happening?
Pushed off their land and crowded together. These conditions multiplied disease and made survival impossible. And so...
That's not true. Survival's not impossible. I'm still here. What the heck?
Context matters. And like always with the right, they're going to leave all that context out. And of course, it couldn't be a claim by the right without trying to shift accountability. This whole argument, they didn't know about biological warfare, this misses the point entirely. You don't need to understand germs to be responsible for the outcomes of your actions. Again, if you invade land, destroy food systems, force people into camps, and march them hundreds of miles while breaking treaties repeatedly, and millions die as a result, that doesn't become innocent just because you don't
Okay, she lumped a lot of stuff in there together. Like she kind of just took the entire history of the entirety and just kind of lumped it all into one, as if they were doing it for pure conquest. No, they were settlers fleeing a monarchy that ruled the world and had to fight that monarchy in order to gain independence and to settle the new land and expand westward to grow, to make the greatest country on God's green earth. Yeah, there was conflict because there were a lot of brutal tribes, and it wasn't like there was it wasn't like you could just move in next to a native tribe because they were not as friendly as you would wish to believe. A lot of them really claimed stake over the land because they conquered it from a different tribe, so they felt like that land is ours because we conquered it. And then a different group comes in, and instead of figuring out how to live cohesively, a lot of them fought. A lot of them really tried to keep their conquered land, and it didn't really work out, for the most part. Except in a lot of cases, the white man, they drew treaties with these groups, and the groups that were willing to work with them survived. It's plain and simple. If it was either you're going to fight to the death to defend your conquered land, or you're going to live in cohesion with the new settlers and move to a reservation. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. That's just the way it was.
Know the science. Intent isn't the only measure of guilt. The impact of your actions matter. He keeps trying to make this case that treaties prove that land wasn't stolen, and this is another misleading move.
No, it proves that it wasn't, that the white man didn't set out to genocide everybody. It's not to say that, the land wasn't conquered or traded for or, bought. It was the fact that they were willing to try and actually work with the natives in order to settle the land. That's all it proves. It's so hard to argue with people like this. It's like she's intentionally misunderstanding what I'm saying, and then just describing like the conditions of the world back then as if that proves her point. It's like, no, you're the one missing the point, because it proves that they're actually trying to work with the people there instead of just going out in a conquest and killing everybody, right? Which is kind of the general sentiment of today, that the white man came over and just killed everybody.
Where he leaves out a lot of context. Yes, treaties existed, but many of those treaties were signed under threat or violence. They were based on lies or false translations, and often they were broken almost immediately. Usually with treaties from around the world, like if you look at our first war, the Barbary Wars, where pirates were basically robbing the world of their boats as they crossed the ocean. The first treaty that we ever had was with I can't remember. But the treaty wasn't signed under like nice conditions. It was like, hey, you stop looting our ships, pirating our ships, or we're gonna kill you. I mean, that's kind of how treaties work. Treaties aren't there. It's not like a nice way to do. I mean, almost everything is under threat. That's the thing. No, we cannot talk about good things. We have to only focus on the conquering and genocide. Yeah, I mean, the way treaties work with warring people is under threat. I mean, there's an implied sense of violence in the background there that is always at play. So, can anyone name a treaty that hasn't been broken? Yeah, I swear. Okay, I gotta look this up really quick. I think it was. I don't want to say it sounds stupid, but there's one of the first treaties we made in the Barbary Wars still stands today. So, very old treaty that hasn't been broken. So now there's few treaties that have survived over time, but yeah, it again, when you take it into the context of all of history and
what the world is, what humans have been doing for our entire history, this makes a lot of sense.
Once settlers wanted more land. And then he lands on this claim that natives weren't helpless, so genocide is a lie. And no one serious says that Native Americans were weak or helpless. They fought back, they resisted, they formed alliances, they survived. But being strong doesn't protect you from industrial empires, endless settlers, standing armies, and laws designed to erase you. Strength didn't save them. It was the power imbalance that destroyed them.
See, again, she just says that it doesn't save you from industrial empires coming over, and it's like that wasn't the case. The settlers that came over were fleeing the monarchy that had ruled the world, so it wasn't like they were the empire in Star Wars going into these camps and killing everybody. No, it wasn't like they were fleeing persecution. And then they ran into native tribes, and they didn't really speak the same language. They couldn't really communicate very well. And when they tried to expand westward, a lot of the natives weren't happy about it. And I mean, just look at, I believe it was the Cherokee Nation, and what they used to do to settlers who were going west. I mean, when there was a full moon, or no, it was the Comanche tribe that was really popular for this. When it was a full moon, they would do night raids into these camps, and they would slaughter everybody. They would kill everybody. They used to call it the Comanche full moon because it was incredibly dangerous to be in the area of these tribes. So it's not like it was the empire just coming in and kicking everybody's ass. No, it was settlers. It was poor people. It was people trying to expand westward. They were fleeing tyranny and creating something with the land that was here that has just been conquered back and forth constantly by all the tribes before it. I mean, that's what the world was. The world itself was either a monarchy, a dictatorship, or tribal warfare for thousands of years. That's what it was. And in order to move past that, yeah, there's going to be some bloodshed. That's just, I mean, if you have a different solution, then let me know. But just saying that this one instance of settlers moving west and warring with tribes is that there's this giant power difference. It's like, no, it wasn't like that. It just wasn't. They were fleeing persecution. They were settling the land. They were trying to coexist, and it wasn't set out. They didn't set out to conquest and destroy Native Americans like the implication in her words there. She doesn't come out and say it explicitly, but when you're talking about an invasion, colonialism, industrial empires coming in with endless armies, it's like, no. That's just, there was a power imbalance because they had guns and they had, I mean, there was a power difference, but it's not, I mean, if all the Native American tribes had actually banded together and they had become one people, then it would have been a lot easier to fight it off. But they were all just different tribes, warring and conquering and enslaving each other. Yeah, Genghis Khan.
So this part of his argument exists to reach one conclusion. If it wasn't literal mass murder, then no one is responsible. And that's false. Genocide doesn't require everyone to be shot.
I didn't say no one was responsible. That was never my implication. I was saying that human history is messy, plain and simple. What's up?
Nothing.
Oh, okay.
Or clear intent to be written down, or even one single method of killing. It could happen a number of different ways, through forced removal, starvation, disease made unavoidable by policy, cultural destruction, or breaking the ability of a people to survive as a people. And that's exactly what happened.
That, Native Americans are one of the only races that have ever been given reservations, have been given so many.
You paused it.
I don't know, privileges that no one else has. I don't know if privileges is the right word.
Well, there were definitely some hard times.
You guys, this is my wife, Lady Patriot, right here.
Oh.
Indian Removal Act. I mean, there were times when Native Americans were not treated well. You know, I mean, there was a point in time where they were trying to force all Native Americans into Christianity, where they basically said, you kill the savage and save the man.
Yep.
I mean, there was that entire idea, but in all reality, if you look back at to what the Native Americans were for thousands of years before the white man came over, they were not advancing technologically. They weren't moving on into a civilized way. There was too much war. There was too much slaughtering of other tribes. There was too many sacrifices to false gods. So I kind of understand that. But as far as the reservations go, a conquered people that that wanted to coexist with the new authority coming in, with the new people coexisting in harmony, the way that they were able to preserve their culture was to get these treaties and have their own reservations to where they could preserve their culture, which is unique in human history. As far as I know, usually when a land is conquered and a people are conquered, they're either extinguished or told to, you know, move to a different land. And that just wasn't the case with Native Americans.
Okay, we gotta break this down.
Let's see if she actually breaks it down, or if she. Well, actually, we'll just let her talk, because I felt like what I said there was. I mean, I agree with it, obviously. So
claim here that Native Americans were given reservations and special privileges, and this is just a giant distortion. Reservations were not a gift. They were what's left over after the land was taken. Calling that a privilege is like saying, you're lucky we didn't take everything.
Yes, that's actually exactly what I'm saying. They had the power to actually wipe Native Americans out, but they didn't. So, yeah, that's literally what I'm saying. In the context of human conquest in history, and everything that happened before these treaties came up and reservations were created, give me another instance of where this happened. Because I don't know of any. Do you guys? And I don't think she brings any solid evidence up here explaining that, okay, this actually is a normal thing in human history, where usually when you conquer somebody, you like give them all your best resources because they definitely won't rebel against you. It's like, no, it's just not how human history works in any way. If you're warring with somebody, or if you are in conflict because you can't actually coexist with certain tribes, but your tribe is small and you want to exist, then they made treaties and they had reservations. And so, yes, in the context of war, it is kind of a gift. It's a way to preserve your lifestyle, which, by the way, Native Americans have done a terrible job with.
It was like saying,
sorry, I was just fixing my earbud.
I forgot what I was saying.
Sorry. Did I ruin your rant?
A little bit.
Sorry.
She just wants to hang out. I was working all day.
I'm about to start dinner, so I just thought I'd come in.
Okay.
I thought you were recording a not a live video, so.
Distortion. Reservations were not a gift. They were what's left over after the land was taken. Calling that a privilege is like saying, you're lucky we didn't take everything. Reservations exist because native land was seized, treaties were broken, and people were forcibly removed from where they lived. So none of that has to do with privilege.
Yes, that literally, it's, if you have a tiny tribe and there's a whole new group of people coming to settle the land that is unsettled, and you're living in this land that your tribe conquered from somebody else.
Yeah, I mean, I barely know anything, and I know that. Here you go.
Love you.
Love you. Go on, Maverick.
Yeah, so again, she's just explaining human history as if it's the fault of the white man, as opposed to the norm in history.
Instead, that's containment. And then, if you listen closely, he said, there were hard times, and it followed with a but. And of course, we know this to be a minimization trick. The Indian Removal Act, forced Christianization, And the quote, kill the savage to save the man, those aren't side notes. Those were the central policies.
Why were they the central policies, though? Why? If you think about it, like I was talking about the Comanche earlier. You know, one of the ways they used to torture people is they would, in the Great Plains, they would basically slaughter all your people, and then if you lived, they'd take you out, they'd bury you up to your neck in the ground, in the hot plains, mind you. They'd cut your eyelids off and let you just die that way. Or they would wrap you they'd wrap you in leather that isn't dried yet and leave you out in the sun. So that way, when it dried, it constricts you. So you overheat, you dehydrate. It's literally sucking the hydration out of you and constricting at the same time. These people were brutal. So when it says kill the savage, save the man, there's a reason that they called them savages. There were, I mean, look at the, what are they called? The dog soldiers. I mean, just absolutely brutal. They were as brutal as humanly possible. They would skin people alive. And so when you're talking about kill the savage, save the man, they're trying to end the eternal conflict of tribal warfare that was happening for so long on this continent before the white man came over. So she's minimalizing the brutality that the natives were enduring for thousands of years before they came over. It was absolutely brutal. And so by skipping over that and just saying that the bad treatment all came from the white man, no, they were living, they had there were some, the Iroquois Confederation, where 5 tribal nations got together and they formed kind of a government. But for the most part, you start moving out west, it was enslavement, slaughter, conquering constantly. So, don't minimize the brutality that the natives were freaking doing to each other, because that is hell.
So it's not like these were accidents or misunderstandings. These were intentional attempts to erase the native identity.
That's, Denise, you're right. The Comanche were brutal for sure. War wasn't an exception to the rule with them. It was the currency of the realm. Yes. Well said.
Identity. So you don't really get to brush those off and then say, but overall it worked out. And then finally, this claim that Native Americans weren't advanced or civilized, this is straight up colonial thinking. It assumes that civilized means European, and technology only counts if it looks Western. Just falls in with this general idea that different cultures are inferior cultures.
Okay, that's just true. Some cultures are definitely inferior. There's no doubt about that. When you are sacrificing people to your sun god, that is an inferior culture, okay? When you are conquering smaller tribes, that is an inferior culture, okay? Of course they didn't advance technologically. Of course, they had some, I'm sure they had some inventions, but for the most part, they were just continuing their tribal warfare lifestyles. People like this, it's like they intentionally don't understand a lot of these things, because maybe to appear like a better person somehow, instead of just acknowledging the fact that yes, some cultures are inferior. Okay, Muslims, how they worship a literal pedophile, Muhammad, who married 6-year-old Aisha and then consummated the marriage at 9 years old. That's who they worship. That is an inferior culture. Their entire book is about conquest and slavery. And if you don't assimilate into their culture, then they're allowed to kill you. That's an inferior culture. Just saying that everybody's the same. We're all cultures are equal. That's dumb. No.
In reality, Native societies were much more advanced in a lot of different ways. You could look to agriculture, trade networks, governance systems, engineering.
guerrilla warfare. A lot of the tribes taught the Europeans guerrilla warfare, which is one of the reasons why we were able to beat the British, because we didn't stand there in high-vis, vests and shoot each other like the British had done for so long. No, they taught them guerrilla warfare. So she has a point there. She didn't mention it, but I mean, they did have some advancement, So
Medicine, astronomy, diplomacy. They did
medicine and astronomy. I would like some examples, please. How do you just say that?
cultures are inferior cultures, when in reality, native societies were much more advanced in a lot of different ways. You can look to agriculture, trade networks, governance systems.
Okay, I'm curious about agriculture as well, because they're not feeding hundreds of thousands of people, as far as I know. They were feeding like their tribe, right? They're not shipping this agricultural food off to different continents or anything like that. So there's no examples being given here. She's just saying like, no, they were definitely advanced. Yeah, they knew all about the stars. They knew all about food and
systems, engineering, medicine, astronomy.
Engineering. Okay, please, somebody give me an example of Native Americans being more advanced in engineering than the Europeans were. Okay. Anybody? We got any examples here? What were they engineering? Cherokee had indoor plumbing. I didn't know that. That's kind of crazy. She's grouping in all native tribes to include the Aztecs and Maya. Oh.
Diplomacy.
Bro. That's good. All right. All right.
They didn't fail to advance. They advanced differently. Calling that backward is how colonizers justify conquest. But then they go on to say reservations help preserve native culture. This is where the story just fully breaks. Reservations were often places where native languages were banned, children were taken to boarding schools, religion was suppressed. Then the movement overall was restricted. In a lot of ways.
Of course it was. Yes. Of course it was. Why? It wasn't fair. Like, no one's saying it's just. I never said that it was like just once they got into the reservations, it was all, it was all good, Of course, like they wanted to break the Native Americans away from engaging in that tribal conflict that they've been doing for so long. So yeah, they had to change part of their culture. They had to assimilate, if you will, into the newer culture. And were the tactics great? No. They weren't all perfect. They weren't all nice. They weren't all fair. Some of them weren't great at all. But hey, Native Americans were still able to preserve their culture. But you know what they've done with it? You know what Native Americans have done with their culture? Just go to a reservation now. It's little socialist hellholes. Okay? And I know I'm going to get a lot of accusations. Or actually, you know what? We'll look at the comments right after this. And you guys will see that they're freaking racist as all hell in here. But I grew up off the reservation. My half-brother, who grew up on the reservation, just got out of jail. Because gangs, drugs, alcoholism, casinos, liquor stores, nicotine stores. I mean, Native Americans aren't known nowadays for, being these. I don't even know what Native Americans are known for nowadays, apart from casinos. In all reality, because it seems like they've just accepted this victim mentality, and like I've met some Native Americans who really, say that they walked the red road. Right? Oh, I was raised in the culture. Oh, yes, in the culture. How? And they still wear jeans. They still use a cell phone, drive a car, all this stuff. So you can't really be of that culture anymore. You can learn about your history. That's really cool. I think it's important to learn about your lineage, your history, the hardships. That's all well and good, but don't pretend like you're some separate sovereign entity, because all the tribal governments now, from what I see, and I mean Russell Means was talking about this in the 90s, right? He was talking about how the tribal governments are just, they're miniature governments, and they are corrupt, especially when money gets involved. That's all it is. But I wish that there was a lot more of the native culture allowed to be shown now, instead of these groups like AIM coming out and helping people, especially leftists, ban our culture entirely. Like, you know what? Let's just talk about this for just a second here, okay? One of the big things that I try to focus on, I've worked with the Native Americans Guardians Association. I had, if you guys remember this kid, remember Holden Armenta? Okay, he was a kid who wore the headdress to the Chiefs game years ago. Half his face was painted black, half his face was painted white. And he got accused by Karen Phillips, who worked at Deadspin at the time. He wanted the NFL to condemn him. And his family got death threats. His family got, they called and harassed his work, which was on the reservation, by the way. And so Eddie and I started a fundraiser, and we got that kid to the Super Bowl that year. He went to the Super Bowl with the Chiefs. I met him. And we were trying to make it okay to have Native American representation, right? To be able to wear a headdress like this in public, whether you're Native American or not, because guess what, guys? This is not a real headdress. This is a representation of a headdress, similar to if you have an American flag on your shirt, right? It's a representation of a flag. Flag code dictates that you're not allowed to wear a flag as a piece of clothing. But if you have a representation of a flag, you can have it on your clothing. That's fine, right? This is my great-grandfather. That's Chief Martin Morning Cloud Sampson. Now, the Swinomish tribe, okay? That's a real headdress, right? I didn't earn a real headdress, but I'm perfectly fine with wearing a fake one. And I think more people should. I think it should be allowed. I think that we shouldn't ban the Redskins name. We shouldn't ban the Land O'Lakes lady. Red Man Chew shouldn't have changed their name to American Chew. Savage Arms. How many of these in Washington State? Years ago, they made it illegal. The middle school that I went to used to be called the Warriors, and it had a picture of a Native American with a headdress on, and it was badass. I was like, hell yeah, that's cool. Especially because I was one of 3 colored people in the entire school, and I was the only Native American. So I thought it was pretty cool. But then Washington State made it illegal to have any Native American mascot or representation unless you're directly tied to a tribe. So there's these groups out there that want to basically genocide representation of Native Americans from our society and culture, and they think that that's a good thing. It's not. No, erasing all symbolism of and representation of Native Americans is a bad thing. That's not good. People will forget about us, and they basically already have, in a lot of ways. Because you look at the illegals that have been flooded into our country in the last 6 years. Okay, 2 to 3 to 4 times more illegal aliens have come across the border than there are even Native Americans left in this country. So I forgot what she was even saying, but I guess we'll just go back to the video. Cancel culture is erasing history. That's absolutely true. Land O'Lakes was my favorite. I saw a meme where someone pointed out that white liberals took the Native American off the box but kept the land. Yes, exactly. And it was designed by an Ojibwe tribal member, and he was honoring the Ojibwe people with that. So it's crazy. Like your style, just acknowledge a constitutional republic. We all have individual rights to exist. You are talking truth. Yes, yeah. And I'm an assimilated Native American, right? I was raised in white culture. In all reality, it's just American culture. I have an attitude of gratitude. I'm grateful that this nation was formed, that the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, was created in an entirely unique form of government in human history, to where we have individual rights recognized by government. Although the government's a little on edge now. So, yeah.
Poverty was imposed by law. So culture didn't survive because of reservations, it survived in spite of them. People held on to culture while being actively punished for it. But to try to call it some unique benevolence and human...
Yeah, just like any regime ever that rules over the land. I mean, there are places nowadays that are killing Christians if they believe in the Bible or if they read the Bible, right? That's the norm. But there were treaties, there were reservations where they could continue on a lot of their teachings. For example, again, the book, it's called Story Pole Legends, okay? These stories were passed down verbally from my great-grandfather to Emerson and Matson, who wrote these stories down. It's very cool. You know? Very cool. The boy with the long hair. That's so crazy. I don't understand. In spite of reservations, it's like they could have just been completely wiped out. I mean, that wouldn't have been cool. That'd have been way worse.
In history? No, you're reframing cruelty as kindness. Native Americans weren't allowed to stay out of generosity. They stayed because erasing them completely would have been too obvious. And treaties created legal obligations.
Hold up.
History? No, you're reframing cruelty as kindness. Native Americans weren't allowed to stay out of generosity. They stayed because erasing them completely would have been too obvious. And
What does she mean? Erasing them completely would have been too obvious. What do you mean? What does she mean too obvious? Like secretly the white man just wanted to, oh, if only we could, if only we wouldn't be punished for wiping them all out. Ooh. Too obvious. What does that even mean? Too obvious for what? The conquest? People coexisting? I mean, I literally don't understand what she's trying to say there. Too obvious. It would have been too obvious. Like then me painting this picture of white supremacy and the colonization being strictly driven by white people trying to keep, you know, the white race pure. I don't know. I don't understand. I literally don't know what she means here. It's like it would have been too obvious for her to paint the picture of white supremacy. Okay. That must be it. That's got to be it, right? I'm not trying to straw man her, okay? I'm trying to understand what the hell she's saying. Too obvious.
treaties created legal obligations the U.S. still struggles to dodge. Not to mention, resistance never...
Hold up. Okay. The U.S. still struggles to dodge. Okay. Let's see something here. I'm going to pull something up. Let's see if I can. You know what? I guess I can't find it. Okay, well, my point was going to be how much the reservations get. Maybe we could just ask Grok really quick. Let's ask Super Grok. Okay. How much federal funding do Native American tribes receive annually? Let's see what it says. and thought about it and settled on the idea that they didn't want to make white liberal women beings. Yeah. That's got to be it. That's got to be the reason. Come on, Grok. Let's go. Okay. Well, we'll get back to that. It'll keep thinking.
Stopped. So again, survival isn't proof of mercy. It's proof of endurance. And so all of this argument hinges on this one dangerous idea. If you aren't wiped out completely, you should be grateful. And that's not morality. That's the logic of colonization and conquest.
I mean, you should be grateful. I can't go back and change history. Neither can she. So if you're alive today, be grateful. Maybe, yeah, I'm glad that they got reservations in order to preserve their culture and go on for another 150 years to make me a half native, half white, patriotic American.
I think a lot of it is just this.
Yeah, exactly. When the other option is not existing. Okay.
Left-wing communist ideology that wants to use Native Americans as a.
Okay. So if you guys don't think that Native Americans if you think that they get nothing, all right. Fiscal year 2023, a total of $30 billion went to tribes. Fiscal year 2024, $27.7 billion. 2025, $34.2 billion between all the tribes. So it's not like the federal government doesn't pay them. We pay them with our tax dollars to the tune of $30 billion a year on average. And she's just acting like we do that. Nothing is given to these poor, impoverished people. Oh, the poor Native Americans, they only receive $30 billion in U.S. taxpayer dollars each year. Oh, there's only 6 million of us. What the hell? They could just pay each Native American a lump sum of money, and it would be like, it'd be a lot more than what they're doing for us right now.
Prop in order to get their agenda.
Oh, the poor Native Americans.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, mistreated and yeah, every.
I like how Alex did that right after I did that.
Oh my God, I can't. The left uses Native Americans as props, so this is 100% projection. What they're accusing the left of doing is exactly what's happening here, just in reverse.
Oh yeah, I'm a tool, you guys.
Using a Native American.
Oh, I'm being used.
His talking points, like
not my ideas, guys. None of this. All the words that came out of my mouth, not my ideas. It's definitely the white man, because, as you guys know, me being a brown or a redskin, I cannot have my own ideas when I'm standing next to a white man, because white men are superior. Clearly, I mean that's her argument right now. It's not my ideas, guys. It's not two friends having a conversation in front of a camera. No, it is I am just a tool. That's it. My God. Oh. Jeez.
And then the way he mocks the poor Native Americans isn't honesty. It's avoidance. It's a dodge. And so
I literally just mocked them in the same exact way right before she played that part. So, I mean, whatever.
His argument when someone doesn't want to deal with the facts, and we were able.
It is wildly racist.
So many in our strong argument. We'd love to see if they could even try to counter this. But there was a lot more to this argument.
I don't know, guys. Can I counter the fact that I've been promoting these things for literally years? That I believe that Native Americans have been used as a tool, like this right here. No one is illegal on stolen land. I don't think that guy is Native American. I mean, it looks like the water beads off the hair, but I could be wrong, right? But this is using the idea of Native Americans as a tool to get their political agenda approved. And I was posting about this for years. That's why I have hundreds of thousands of followers, right? Gosh. It's so crazy. It's like she just did zero research on me, and she's like, what a tool. Standing next to a white man, not thinking he has ideas and shit. Get back on the reservation, you savage. God damn.
He makes the claim that everyone was either conquered or conquerors. And this is a theme we're seeing him doing of trying to flatten things. And yes, human history includes conquest. And yes, human history includes conquest. No, that doesn't mean that all conquest is morally equal.
I never said that. I never said that all conquest was morally equal. But when you paint the picture that the white man came over to conquer the land as their goal, instead of saying that they were fleeing persecution from a monarchy that had ruled the world in order to create the greatest country and documents in history known to mankind, the Declaration of Independence, the Bill of Rights. Okay? Greatest documents in human history apart from the Bible, but that, that's different. Okay? When you don't bring that up, you're kind of flattening this idea of conquest. But
there's a difference between tribal conflict over territory and a global empire arriving with endless settlers, armies, laws, and industrial power. Pretending
again, she's painting the picture like it's the Empire in Star Wars just going to stomp out the rebels. That's not what it was. They fled persecution to settle a new land and had to fight the world power in order to settle that new land. And then they had to fight a lot of the damn natives that were there because they didn't want to coexist. That's completely different than what she's painting. Lordy.
those are the same makes history meaningless. But he even goes further. He says, I'm half white and half native, so it all balances out. You know, again.
See, if I left it in my truck. Damn. I was going to say, I got my Caucasian shirt on today because I figured that, you know, being called a prop for the white nationalists, I may as well be wearing my Caucasian shirt. Figured it was probably the most appropriate shirt to wear for this video. Yeah, half white, half native. I'm grateful to all of my ancestors. I honor and cherish both of them.
Trying to flatten this even more. Being mixed race doesn't cancel history. Having ancestors on both sides, it doesn't mean the conquest was fair or the treaties were honored or that the harm disappeared.
All claims I never made. None of those claims were made. This entire video, she can go back through and, like, you know, claim whatever, but she brought up straw men earlier. Her coming to the conclusion that my argument came down, actually, Alex's argument that was coming through me because I'm just a mouthpiece, remember? That argument is saying that it's all morally good and this. No, it's in the context of history and what was happening up until that point, including the actions of the tribes here in this land that were fleeing persecution from other tribes, right? That partnered with the white man in order to take out the tribe that was just tyrannically ruling over them or slaughtering their people or enslaving their people or torturing their people, you know.
Conquest was fair or the treaties were honored or that the harm disappeared. It just means that people adapted and survived. And survival isn't proof of harmony. It's proof that people didn't have a choice.
There's a new kind of colonization happening in our country where you can see that over the last 6 years, since 2020, Biden got into office, there were roughly 12 to 18 million third world foreigners that were brought into our country. Now, if you put that into perspective, there's only...
Trump recently said that it was over 50?
I mean, the number...
I know
the number
like, yeah,
it's
they're all over the place.
So like 12 to 18 million documented were coming over. So we don't know the entire number, but at a bare minimum, there's only about 6 million Native Americans in this entire country. there's 2 to 3 times more third world foreigners brought over in the last 6 years than there are even Native Americans left in this country. And so if we're talking about preserving culture, I believe that Native American history is American history, that the white man and the natives coexist, that our history is a shared history. And the colonization that's happening isn't being fought with swords. It's not being fought with guns right now. It's being fought by these lefty communists using third world foreigners to inject it into our system, to overwhelm our welfare system, to abuse our tax dollars, and to make us poor financially, to separate the family, and to use.
Let's not forget crime. And, you know, they allow them to get away with a lot more crime. They release them back into the streets so they can get more power, plus voting, right? Lots of reasons why they're using third world foreigners to subvert our culture and our representation in government by using these third world foreigners as pawns.
Using third world foreigners as a tool to destroy America from within. And if we don't stand up, if we don't support what's going on as far as deporting these people, then our culture will be completely erased.
Okay. You guys are right. You can see his hands, so he's not using me as a puppet, I guess.
So first of all, his argument sounds scary on purpose, but almost every part of it is misleading. So let's take it piece by piece. He begins by saying 12.
Okay, you guys think she's going to do a good job here? Probably not.
12 to 18 million third world foreigners were brought into the country. And this is the first big trick. Those numbers are usually based on border encounters, not people brought in. An encounter means someone was stopped, someone was turned away.
Whoa. Turned away? The Biden administration didn't turn one person away, all right? Just scratch that idea.
Tried more than once. And we need to keep in mind that the same person can be counted multiple times. So
that's why I gave a buffer. 12 to 18 million. There's a 6 million buffer there. How's that not fair? I used the most conservative numbers, and I gave a large buffer of 6 million.
An encounter is not the same thing as a person permanently entering the country.
Except they were literally removing border fences in order to allow do you guys remember that video where they scooped up the barbed wire in order to allow the trains of migrants to come in? And not only that, they had literally U.S. taxpayer funded groups going down and teaching them how to get through the border, what routes to take, what to say when you encountered Border Patrol. And I literally excused all of the ones that crossed over without encountering Border Control. Okay, these are just the ones that we know about. So the buffer of 6 million, 12 to 18 million, right? Large buffer zone there, and discounting all the speculative ones that we definitely know happen that came across without it. Yeah, they literally had caravans of people coming through the border. And the minimalization that is happening here is her minimalizing the idea that flooding the country with millions and millions of people is, I don't even, she's minimalizing that idea. Those are just border encounters, we don't really know.
And furthermore, though, just comparing immigrants to Native Americans is dishonest. Right? This comparison only works if you ignore one huge difference, that immigrants are not invading native land. They're not breaking.
Whoa. Okay. Yes, they are invading our land. That's why they're illegal. They're not supposed to be here. That's why ICE is kicking them out. They're using our system. And native lands, that's all you guys. That's the Native Americans of today. Let's see. Here we go. Okay. Years ago. Now, believe it or not, you guys, believe it or not, I had my own thoughts, my own opinions back then, too. I actually have been promoting these ideas. I've been very consistent on this. Okay. I'm encouraging every American to appropriate Native culture because guess what? You are the Native Americans being overran by foreigners. So when she says that they're not taking foreign lands, yes, they are. They're the tools being used by the Democrats and the complicit Republicans that are flooding these people into our country. I mean, look at the billions of dollars that have been taken just from daycare centers, these fake daycare centers they set up in Minnesota. I mean, come on. You can't say that they're not taking native land. They're taking native land. They're taking native jobs, Native Americans, right? Okay. All you guys are Native American. You are native to the land. So I know that she's referencing like, the Indians, right? Not the dot, the feather kind, like me. And, but I'm saying that they are invading our land, and the natives of today is everybody here in the country that have lived here for generations, that are Americans, right? That are unfortunately conscripted into paying taxes every freaking paycheck and everything that they buy. And whenever you want to drive your car or fill up your car or buy, Zens or whatever it is.
Treaties, removing tribes, creating reservations, erasing languages.
They are kind of creating reservations. Look at the Somali people in Minnesota right now. Minnesota went from being that, the idea of the big, white lumberjack guy with the freaking axe and had the blue ox or whatever his name was. I can't remember his freaking name right now. But, that story. And now it's all about the Somalians and their communities stealing our tax dollars. That's kind of like a reservation. It's like an unwritten one where they're just getting a shit ton of our taxpayer dollars and sending it back to their people. So yeah, they kind of are stealing native land. Paul Bunyan, thank you.
They're entering a country that already exists under laws set by the U.S. government. So calling that colonization really empties the word of its meaning.
The colonization is these Democrats and complicit Republicans, the Uniparty, bringing them in as tools in order to keep power, in order to create chaos, in order to steal money, keep us poor, to secure their votes by these, universal mail-in ballots in all these sanctuary cities. And they just happen to get a big jump in votes at the right time in order to win every single time. Plus, all the crime and chaos makes people ask for more security, giving more power to the government. It is a perpetuating problem. So it is not the same kind of colonization, but it is colonization. It's not the actual foreigners colonizing our country. They're being used by the colonizers in order to colonize and change our culture. It's not very hard, but I'm not comparing them to, I don't know what she's saying. I think she fundamentally misunderstood what I was saying.
If everything is colonization, then nothing is. And he takes that even further, saying this is the new colonization without swords or guns. And so while this is emotionally powerful, it's completely historically wrong. Colonization just isn't about a lot of people showing up. Colonization means one group seizing land, destroying political sovereignty, forcing...
Yes, but it's not one group. It is a worldwide issue being controlled by one group, the Democrats, the Uniparty, the complicit Republicans. They're bringing in these people for that objective. It's not like the Somalians are the ones colonizing us. It is an effort to use third world foreigners in order to take over
people into dependency and rewriting laws to erase a culture. Immigrants don't have that power. The U.S. government does.
Oh, she proved my point. Look at that. She literally just made my point for me, thinking that she's not making my point because she fundamentally misunderstood what I was saying and ended up just proving me right. Thank you.
If we don't deport them, our culture will be erased. And this assumes something very revealing, that American culture is so fragile.
No. What did AOC tweet out when she said that like New York City has like 900 languages, or not 900, but like 120 different languages being spoken in New York City. I would say that's erasure of culture. Okay? That's literally what's happening, is American culture is being subverted and destroyed. Look at Mamdani, right? In New York City. They're literally trying to change our culture. It is being subverted. What happens when the immigrants start fighting other groups of immigrants? Fuck, I hope they both lose.
It can't survive newcomers. But American culture has always changed.
She didn't misunderstand. She's just intentionally misrepresenting how big the problem is and trashing everyone who points out the problem by claiming this all comes from racism while being racist. Well said. It's kind of spot on. Let's see if she brings up again that I'm a tool, right? That none of this is my thoughts. Because I think I remember counting 3 times where she brought it up. And so far it's only been 2. So it must be towards the end of the video.
And that's not erasure. That's history. Culture isn't erased by people arriving. It's erased when government suppresses it, rights are removed, and communities are crushed by policy. And this is where the irony comes, because that's what happened to Native Americans, and it wasn't caused by immigration. Again, this is the uncomfortable part. A Native American whose people were actually colonized is now using...
My people are the American people, okay? Part of my lineage is Native Americans, and I love the history, and I do my best to honor them. But my people are the American people, are patriotic Americans who want to make this country better. That's why I have my entire brand is Tribe of Patriots. I don't say that I'm Swinomish American, right?
the word colonization and using it in a completely wrong way to describe immigrants who have no armies, no treaties, no land seizures, and no sovereignty. That doesn't protect Native history, it dilutes it. And furthermore, it shows that this guy has no understanding of his own people's history.
Again, she's like making me like an other. It's like he doesn't even know about his own people's history. Okay, my people's history is very mixed. I'm half white. I'm a quarter French and a quarter German. Okay, and I'm half Swinomish. Well, like it's a little bit of the Upper Skagit tribes. I'm not fully half Swinomish, right? There's a mix of like, is it like Black? I don't remember. Black River. I just can't remember. I wrote it all down recently, but I already forgot. But there's a bunch of Upper Skagit tribes that all got consolidated thanks to my great-grandfather, who brought in a whole bunch of tribes into the Swinomish Reservation. So, colonization occurs when resource extraction, land, labor, and wealth are taken to benefit the colonizer. Exactly. Yeah, but again, she keeps making me like this other. Like he doesn't even know about his own people's history. Come on now. I said Native American history is American history. It's a shared history. It's your people too. Because, like I claimed earlier in the video, okay, Native Americans and the white man have fought side by side in every single war since before America was even formed. So, you can't say that Native Americans didn't contribute to the forming of this country when the Iroquois Confederacy, Benjamin Franklin went there and actually documented a couple other meetings and was fascinated by the idea of checks and balances in government. Okay, the fact how obviously she does not see herself as us as equals is made very apparent just by the way she talks about Native Americans and about like me in this video. It's crazy to me.
At the end of the day, this isn't about guilt. And it's not about hating America. It's about honesty. You don't have to believe America is evil to admit it was built through violence, power, and broken promises. And you...
Like every single nation on earth. That's my point. That's a large part of my point is like every single nation ever created was created that way. That's how humans do it. It is not some specialty that America, being the greatest country in the history of the earth, empowering the people more so than any other culture has done before it, okay, was formed in this way. Yep, just like every single other nation of all time that we know of was formed this way. It's the same. That's what I'm saying. Is it how hard is that to understand?
You don't have to erase Native suffering to care about the future of this country. What does damage us is
no. We got to keep them in this poor little group. No, you poor little Native. No, are you okay? Are you okay? God, I just feel like I'm being talked down to a lot. I don't like it.
Ending history only counts when it makes us feel comfortable. What does damage us is using other people's pain as shields to avoid accountability. And what does damage us is turning real historical trauma into...
Okay, hold up. I'm trying to understand what she's saying here.
Is using other people's pain as shields to avoid accountability. And what does...
using other people's pain as shields to avoid accountability. So I'm using Native Americans' pain as a shield to avoid accountability of something. What, like blaming it on white skin, on the white men only? Natives took part in this too.
What does damage us is turning real historical trauma into a weapon for modern fear. Native Americans don't need to be props for the left or the right. They don't need to be frozen as victims. And they don't need to be used as permission slips either. They deserve the same thing as everyone else does.
I'm a permission slip now too. I'm a tool. I'm a mouthpiece. I'm a permission slip. God.
To have their history told honestly, without distortion, without mockery, and without being dragged.
I mock everybody, okay? I'm an equal opportunity. I like to mock people with an equal opportunity, all right? All groups.
Into someone else's political agenda. You can love this country and still tell the truth about how it was built. In fact, if this country is going to survive, that honesty isn't optional. Because a future built on denial isn't strength, it's fragility. And real strength starts with telling the truth, even when it's uncomfortable.
Well, that was fun. That was a lot of fun, you guys. Nothing like being talked down to by the white saving liberal, the white savior, coming in and telling me that none of these ideas are mine and I'm not honest. And gosh. Yes, let the white liberal woman explain the suffering of your people to you because she knows more about it than the people who lived it. Yeah, and not only that, like my people, okay, if you want to look at like my Swinomish lineage, okay, we were on the far left coast. We're on, Washington State, which we weren't really like the Plains Indians battling and fighting these guys. There was a cannibalistic tribe on the peninsula here in Washington that we weren't really friends with. But in a lot of ways, we didn't have that conflict as much as some of the Plains Indians did. So the history of Native Americans is not just like one thing. Okay, I'm a West Coast Indian, Plains Indian. We've been here for a long time. And we didn't fight with the white men like at all. Like they came over and we're like, "What's up, guys?" And they're like, "What's up?" And they got along fine, as far as I know. Maybe there's some hidden battles here and there, but for the most part, we were pretty fine. Oh yeah, we got to go through the comments. I forgot about that. Okay. Let's look through some of the comments here. Okay. I'm sure this is going to go well. All right. Let's see. I told her that this would be fun to break down. This is fucking rank shit. Did y'all know that around 40% of households on reservations lack clean water and sanitation? Okay, isn't that the fault of the tribal leaders that get millions of dollars yearly from the government? Something that Russell Means was talking about a long time, like 30 years ago, about how reservations are basically socialist hellholes. Like, one of the great ways to counter the idea that socialism will work is to look at reservations, because they get millions of dollars from the government and then still are living in poverty in a lot of ways. So reservations are privileges, and we had to explain that. Europeans knew darn well how deadly and contagious smallpox was, measles, and other areas. Well, I think there was one documented case in like 1750 something. One documented case of a guy giving, of a Brit giving a Native American actual smallpox blankets. A lot of the other stuff is just rumors and you know, who knows? But they didn't like know exactly. Well, you know, they didn't even know nowadays like how effective that would actually be spreading smallpox. So, whatever. Imagine being forced to march out in the eastern woodlands into the high plains deserts. Fucking Oklahoma. The Trail of Tears, which many 50% died on the way. Old people and babies forced march. Yeah, that wasn't good. That was a bad thing. But in the perspective of history, okay, there was like 4,000 natives that died. Like 12,000 people total died on that trip. But like, that's not like a genocide, right? Like, that was bad. I will give him that. Like, that wasn't good. Bad history. But that's not all Native Americans. See, here's the racism that comes out. They probably paid him $5 and a participation trophy. You guys heard of the $5 Indian, right? You used to be able to pay $5 to get on the whatever rolls, and you could, you know, claim that you're an Indian. So there's a lot of, I get called this all the time, you know, you're a $5 Indian. I don't believe that guy's Native American. He's spewing white nationalist nonsense. He's just a white supremacist with a bad haircut and a blanket. All right. Yeah. Cosplay. It can be internalized racism. We see it in black people siding with white supremacists too. God damn. Nice to see Dark Brandon resurrected like Gandalf the White with the new name and everything. I don't know what that means. Maybe they're just talking to the author there. One guy doesn't represent the whole. That's some crazy gaslighting. What about him? Sheesh. Yeah, I speak as a Native American. Again, not for Native Americans. Are we sure this native is actually part of an actual legit native community, or is he just cosplaying? Let me see your papers. That's what they always go to. Don't ask the illegals if they have their papers, but when I say I'm half native, they're like, prove it to me. Give me a video of your reservation and you talking to your tribal elders. It goes real quick. Oh, lordy. They actively gave smallpox blankets to the natives. Yeah, there's literally one documented case. And like, again, they didn't really know. Let's see. Careless way waves that weapon around would have gotten him shot by a range master. What? This is correspondence between 1763. Okay, I was pretty close. Yeah, this is the one documented case in history that we have. This video is disgusting to watch. Technology is not a measure of human worth. What? Did I say that technology was a measure of human worth? Am I mistaken something here? Move this camera over. Am I crazy, or is that just? Let's see. We'll go right there. Oh, defeated in open warfare. All right, fair enough. Dude thinks that using these statements will preserve him. Anyone have a list of people that don't? See, this is what I get a lot as well. See, and it's assumed that Alex is a white nationalist and that he really hates anybody who's not white. And so I get this idea that, I'm the token, and as soon as they regain power, whatever that means, they're gonna kill me. Basically, that's the point here. So, but yeah, I get this all the time. The Spanish threw contaminated blankets over the walls to spread disease. They knew about biological warfare, even if they didn't understand how it worked. Okay, hey, look at that. This dude seems cool. I feel like a Native American shouldn't be on the political spectrum, as no government has ever really provided the assistance required. Well, I'm not a Republican. If that makes you feel better. I'm just a patriot of this nation and the ideals that our founding fathers set forth. So, Native Americans serve to protect their land, not management. The res is a privilege. That's some shitty That's some shitty regifting of a tiny piece of your own land by colonizers. Well, how'd they get that land? Was it conquered? And then they got conquered? Oh, I don't know. Mr. Token, thank you. Call me Uncle Tonto, sir. A better use of free time would be learning the ancestral language. Yeah, my virtually dead language of Lashutsi. No, I'm not going to learn it. I speak English. And that's all we need to speak. There's so very few people that can even understand the couple of words that like there's very, very, very few, like probably under 10 people that understand Lashutsi and could talk in it. So why would I learn that? Sharing it with the youth, preserving that uniquely indigenous culture that is an American culture, but a distinct part of it, not posing with guns, and a moron for one of the good ones, cred. God damn! It's the same all the time. Also noted the repeated use of they when referencing Native Americans, pretendian or ancestry denier. Does he know that Native American, it's not like one tribe, okay? There's different tribes. So I'm part Swinomish, but I'm not part Cherokee or Ojibwe or Blackfoot or the 500 other tribes. So yes, they. That's part of the reason why they lost, is they weren't one consolidated group like Americans are supposed to be. And so they couldn't communicate with each other. And when they went to go fight the white men, they lost in a lot of cases. And he's half white, is he? Oh, so he probs not raised in the culture. Yes, thank God. Like my brother being raised in the culture, who has been in and out of jail and into drugs and gangs and all of that shit. Fucking part of the culture. Get the fuck out of here. Ooh, I can make a drum. You know what? This drum. Look at it. I'm in my pajamas. Don't mind me. This drum here, this is made by my uncle. Okay, he was telling me he teaches them how to make them down in Tacoma, and I don't know how to make these, and I probably won't learn because I have a lot of other stuff to learn. So. But I have a lot of other stuff to learn, so it's not really a high priority. But this idea that you're raised in the culture, just because you grew up on the reservation, doesn't mean that you are in the that you are raised with the culture. Because a lot of the reservation is, they act like gangsters, right? They've adopted that culture, the rap gangster culture, and it's just pure degeneracy. And so, yeah, I wasn't raised in the culture. I don't work at the casino. Sorry. I did work for my dad's fireworks stand one summer, though. So, does that count? Let's see. Familiar with anti-indigenous racism directed at those who do live that lifestyle. Oh, yeah. This is a wise one. Chosen to honor one side of his ancestry over the other, which is his right, but he's losing a lot of who he said he is and whose he is. All right. See, they just want to put me in that box. Get back on the reservation. You weren't raised on the reservation? Get back on there. Fuck you. Oh. Let's see, what's so frightening about acknowledging the land that was stolen? It's almost like these guys are sensitive, emotional crybabies who can't handle the truth and will not change their own lives materially. All right, I don't know what the point he was making there. When a person parades someone to support a narrative in the opposite manner, do these criticisms also apply? Okay. No, because they're not disingenuous morality whitewashing. Oh, God. Oh. Let's see. Conquered, not stolen. Based. Tokens get spent. B. Williams. Oh, gosh, he looks stable. Yeesh.
Hey there, folks.
Oh,
Hope
no.
you're doing well today.
Oh, I gotta go all the way back now. Stockholm Syndrome wrapped in cognitive dissonance and sprinkled with the Dunning-Kruger effect. How can we forget about Crazy Horse joining the 7th Cavalry to help conquer the airports during the Bowling Green Massacre? Stockholm Syndrome? I'm not captive. I grew up in America. I was born here just like everybody else. What the hell? My God. These people are crazy. Then they don't understand their history. If they think they'll be treated as equals after all this is said and done, they're mistaken. Yeah, if these fucking communists get into power, I definitely won't be treated as an equal. I'll be buried because I'll probably be dead. Because they look at a video of me and Alex standing next to each other, and they're like, that fucking native, he thinks he's an equal. You need to put him in his place. God damn. They don't know that like me and Alex are friends and our wives hang out and like, no, can't be friends. 2 different races? Are you kidding me? You're gonna mingle with the savages? God damn. Yee. Oh, God. They're never going to pick you. On a patriot, you're being used. Oh, yeah. This is... But where are the racist ones, guys? I'll never get picked by my all the fellow white people around me that are so superior that I have to be chosen in order to be one of the good ones. It's the same every time. Every single time. It's the same comments over and over for years. They're like, patriotic native. He must be. They're never going to pick you, you fucking savage. Get back on the reservation. Learn your culture. Stay away from these white people. God. Before the white man came over, the natives did not advance technologically. There was too much war. There was slaughtering of tribes. Let's see. When the first settlers came to America around the 1400s, they were barely out of the medieval ages. You know, a time when Europeans thought the epic sky daddy would help all the problems if you just pray, and more important, donate to hard enough to the church. These guys fled to Europe, but advanced too fast. Europe started to take science serious and regularly gave it to pass before the church. The Mayflower settlers wanted to back to the old times of medieval Europe because they thought the feudal, non-advancing, non-technology-oriented society back then was better. This was the very foundation the Mayflower set sails. It's fascinating how fast dumb arguments of dumb Americans can be dismantled even with their bare-ass minimum facts of history. It's just pointing out like a different thing. It was the monarchy that controlled what you are allowed to believe in, basically. That they were fleeing persecution from a monarchy. It's not, and yeah, everybody wants simpler times. So That's not dismantling my argument. It's like, I don't know. How many of those treaties were kept? Imagine being so ashamed. Here's another one. Imagine being so ashamed of your cultural background that you whitewash, try to apologize for your people being victimized. That's sad. I hope he goes and gets help. Thanks, man. God. If he's okay with colonization that brought white people, what? Why does he care about more immigrants? Immigrants will settle the land the same way all the white people settled his ancestors' land. Also, he looks Mexican to me. What if I stopped him? I'd say I'm American, and then I'd go on my way. The fuck? Oh, love all these comments about how the video is racist while simultaneously dehumanizing a Native American by equating him to nothing more than a token prop. Based. Living your native voice and ideas. Lots of conservatives in their community. I've never heard one like this, though. All right. That's cool. I love how so many people have opinions about native cultures, life, and have never been around it. Yeah, and just assuming that they're like all the same. It's like, no, there's a reason why they didn't put up as good of a fight as they could have, is because they were all tribally separated and warring with each other, and they weren't one group. You only view him as a tool because he disagrees with your rhetoric. Remember, kids, apparently it's cool to talk down to minorities if they disagree with you. That's right. It sounds like a load of commie bullshit from you. You're saying a Native American cannot be right if he isn't agreeing with you is laughable and low-key racist. True. So Native American man who doesn't... Oh, look at that. Okay, they're getting some good comments here. Who doesn't have the view you think you should have? My God, racism in this video is astounding, but then the left has always been the party of hate, racism, slavery, bigotry, and division. Yeah. Well, let's see what he says. No one said he's not allowed to think anything. What you're doing is the exact trick we called out, using a native identity as a shield to avoid criticism. I can't control that I'm native. I don't know what to tell you. I'm not a prop. That's what I am. I can have opinions without being a fucking token. Pointing out tokenism isn't racism. Pretending an argument becomes untouchable because of who says it is lazy and dishonest. No, but disregarding everything I say because I'm just a token is racism. Yeesh. Let's see. Let me see here. Basically saying that the libertarians cannot think for himself, hence calling him a token. How much do you actually know about his channel? Also, how do you not see that you are being racist here? Talk about white savior complex. Seriously, if you don't think that people of a different color can handle the full autonomy without you thinking you need to save them. It is the literal definition of racist because you don't think of him as an equal. Based. Good job. Hell of a reply. Racism is stunning, and of course I'm talking about the racism in this video. Native Patriot, the guy in the video, is not letting himself to be used as a tool. This video, however, tries. He said a claim is that 95% of Native Americans were slaughtered by Europeans, disease mostly. The video narrator says this is a straw man argument, but it is in fact a very common claim made by the left, and it needs to be debunked. The claim that disease didn't arrive on its own, it came with, and the narrator lists a host of terrible things that happen to native populations, is disingenuous, because diseases of all kind arrive on their own, at least in North America. The first colonizers arrived, 90% of the native population has already died, killed by the diseases introduced by Central Americans, by the Spanish explorers a couple hundred years earlier. That's true. And the narrator does, the left always does, conflates illegal immigrants with legal immigrants. That gave up. Very well. Yeah. See, there's a lot of people that are smart. I'm glad that I'm seeing pushback from this. This is good. Oh, see, look. The myth that most of us died by disease is 100% a lie. Most of us were murdered by colonizers or stolen by them as children. An illegal practice that's still happening today. And then murdered. It presumes that we lack basic human physiology and lack understanding of basic medicine. The idea that we weren't progressing is likewise a part of the infantilization of us.
Well, this is...
What's up, buddy? What's up? This is my son, Braylon. He's awesome. Another person is going to have to learn what happens to tokens the hard way. Ooh, don't touch. No touchy. Yeah, that's a microphone. Well, you guys, I think we did a decent job going through that video, making fun of him enough. It's almost bedtime, huh?
No, light up.
Yeah. Yeah, Raylan's, he is very, very adorable. Hi, buddy. Can you say hi?
Hi, dude. Hi, Dada.
Hi.
I love it.
All right, go out there. I'll be out in just a minute.
Hey.
Go see Mama. I'll be out in just a minute. Alrighty, guys. I'm gonna get out of here. Thanks for tuning in. If you can, please share this. I'd appreciate it. Also, tune into my YouTube channel. It will be on YouTube as well. At Law Native Patriot. Oh man, you missed a video. Sorry. It'll be up. It'll be permanently on YouTube. So take care, you guys. God bless. See you next time.
My people of this country and we're under attack. They banning us, they cancel us for speaking the facts. If you man enough.
This is the Patriots Prayer Podcast. It's a tremendous show, one of the greatest shows in the history of the world.
This is Bryson Gray, and you are watching the Patriots Prayer.
PTN, you're doing the right thing.
On the Patriots Prayer Network. Thank you all.
PPN on your bumper.
I'm Tom McDonald. This is the Patriot Prayers Network. Check it out. Lots of good TV. Lots of cool people. Tune in. Keep it locked.
Know where I stand. I'm the white boy with the middle fingers in the air, dog. We don't give a what. 100 white boys gonna hold me down anywhere, dog. We think that you suck. My Patriots the craziest. They ain't afraid of breaking fists on faces. If you really wanna taste of this, no safety tip. The same mistake and spray the clip. I pray you miss, cause if you don't, they gon' go wacko. Automatic gun smoke like tobacco. Never hit a lady, but it's pretty hard to tell if you're a girl or a they, them. There's these, that, those. I ain't never gonna take a knee for the anthem. Smack them. I don't give a damn, can't stand them. Gang full of randoms. Fan with a handgun. Run up in your mansion, leave it all abandoned. I was raised to be brave to the grave. United States, we love the country that they've been corrupting. Go woke and go broker if you ain't obeyed. My people of this country and we're under attack. They banning us, they cancel us for speaking the facts. If you man enough, come stand with us, take USA back. And every time we pull up, all you're gonna see is American flag.